Global conspiracy against Biafra, misinformation, false narrative against the IPOB's peaceful self-determination quest. That is what we are suffering today. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. Happy New Day. I welcome you all to another episode of Biafra Must Survive. All hail Biafra. I don't know what you are thinking in your mind, but this is another Ubonga update coming from this platform, Okute Daily Talk, where we always speak to you the undiluted truth about everything you need to know concerning this our movement, concerning the Zoological Republic of Nigeria, concerning the Finland government incarceration of the leader, rather the Prime Minister of Biafra Republic government. Here we speak to you everything truth and nothing but the truth. Anything that is called propaganda, maybe is part of the game. But let us go straight to the reason why we are here. And as you are watching, please drop your opinion at the comment section of this video. Like, share, comment, and keep subscribing for more interesting videos. It is already far established that there has been a global conspiracy against Biafra's quest for self-determination. Today, some Western media platforms, namely Reuters and Jerusalem Post, published a false, bogus report concerning the Southeast, IPOB, Biafra, and the sit-at-home orders, observations, and its impacts. Well, let me pause it here and also to correct this narrative. Nigeria government have paid all these people, even including the so-called Amnesty International. So whatever APC and Nigeria government cannot do does not exist. Let's continue. The alleged investigative report in question was conducted by a shadow private intelligence consultancy firm, SBM Intelligence, which in all candor has deep ties with the Nigerian government, military, and most definitely is State Secret Service, DSS. It is no coincidence that this report was made public just 4 days to the highly anticipated Biafra Heroes Day, May 30, 2025, a day which had been designated in honor of victims of the genocidal Biafra War of 1967 to 1970. Amidst verbal contraction remarks between the IPOB movement and the chief of the National Intelligence Agency, Nuhu Ribadu, over the status of forthcoming Biafra Commemoration Day and how the people of the Biafra region reckons with it. There's no doubt that order for a voluntary sit-at-home observed was issued by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB movement, and as has been evidently proven in the past, unenforced before the era when Trojan horse operations to discredit the legitimate quest for Biafra self-determination. It is suppressed image that the IPOB movement, this era was after the kidnap and extraordinary rendition of IPOB leader by the Nigerian government. The 30th of May, Biafra anniversary is as initiated by the IPOB movement since 2014, was always peaceful and citizens would either hold non-violent processions and memorial events in such day. However, security forces would move in for mass crackdowns and killings. For instance, in 2016, the Nigerian military and police carried out series of brutal massacre of the indigenous people of Biafra protesters across the east, and a judicial execution spree led by the Nigerian army in which over 150 peaceful pro-Biafra protesters carrying only placards and flags to raise awareness of the ongoing marginalization of their rights and freedoms were massacred. Additionally, more than 28 people were killed in an attack on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home, where he hosted numerous visitors and supporters. Family members perished in this extrajudicial attack. In fact, the sit-at-home order was the latest impoverished strategy by the IPOB movement to minimize crackdowns casualties during such days and events. Yet, SBM intelligence produced no report detailing this daylight massacre of innocent civilians in the East, despite being founded in 2013. A year after IPOB's establishment, SBM intelligence appeared to lack the intelligence to expose the unlawfully massacre of indigenous peoples of Biafra across the East by federal security agencies for committing no crime known to the law. In this report, as acknowledged by the Reuters and the Jerusalem Post, confirmed that the IPOB leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, had already concealed the sit-at-home order initially drawn up as a protest against his continued unlawful detention and rendition. The report acknowledged that IPOB lifted the sit-at-home order in 2021 shortly after its commencement. Why then does the media falsely claim that the alleged 600 deaths since 2021 are as a result of IPOB sit-at-home orders, which is typical lie from the pit of hell? The gross contradiction in the reports of SBM intelligence and collaborative media like Reuters, the Jerusalem Post, and the probably other Western media platforms are evidently dubious and reeks of journalistic unprofessionalism. It is like the turning off the journalism purview and instinct of cross-referencing every piece and fact pertaining a story, or could be that these media platforms failed to thoroughly study the SBM report and went on to publish them with its brazen contradictive flaws. Anyway, moving forward, let me just pause it here to answer them on this particular region. They said, because of sit-at-home, we lost over 600 individuals in the southeast, right? Okay, how many military barracks have been attacked in Borno, Yola, and the rest of other northeast states? How many of them have been taken over by bandits? How many military men have been killed? The other day, we witnessed over 117 military being gunned down by terrorist Boko Haram. Then I asked this SBM and New York Post, Jerusalem Post, Israel Post, Russia Post, or whatever they call them, are also those ones being, the deaths are being caused by sit-at-home or being caused by IPOB or Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What about the massacre in Plateau, where we lost over 162 within space of 2 weeks? Are their deaths being caused by sit-at-home or Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What about the killings that persist in Benue? Are those ones also caused by sit-at-home and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? You can see that the world is already against the Biafrans and what they represent. Anyway, let us proceed. The SBM report failed to acknowledge that IPOB has consistently stated it has never enforced sit-at-home orders and that compliance have always been voluntarily. However, it aimed at linking the Eastern Security Network, ESN, the vigilante wing set up by IPOB, to solely confront the Fulani killer herdsmen in the eastern region of alleged sit-at-home enforcement. Meanwhile, the SBM report acknowledged that the ESN, as publicly stated by IPOB, was established solely to have terrorist incursions in the east and protect lives and property in the region. IPOB and ESN are innocent of these allegations propagated by the Nigeria's kakistocratic government, whose legacy is marked by the violations of fundamental human rights, extrajudicial killings of indigenous peoples, and the conspiracy of ethnic cleansing carried out by Islamic terror groups from the Sahel. And these acts are encouraged by the complacency and dubious positions of the West and its media platforms. IPOB has consistently distanced itself from the sit-at-home enforcement and enforcers and asserted that it is the Nigerian government sponsoring the violent enforcement to blackmail the IPOB movements and the ESN. Suffice to say that none of the Western mainstream media houses who are now taking swipe at the IPOB movement right from the Nigerian government's playbook cared to come down to the southeast to conduct an on-site independent investigation to collaborate or debunk the claims of the IPOB movement. but are buying and spreading a well-packaged government propaganda against the victimized and the oppressed. IPOB is a peaceful self-determination seeking organizations grounded in the principles of human dignity and the rights of indigenous peoples to choose their preferred religions, cultural, political, and economic governance. And most importantly, it has no faction whatsoever. And obviously, this report by SBM Intelligence is nothing but a desperate attempt by the Nigerian NIA director and his aides to discredit and defame the forthcoming Biafra Heroes Commemoration and Anniversary, because the violent sit-at-home enforcements in the southeast has so far died down since last year, when its chief architect in Finland was apprehended by the finance authorities for his terrorism against southeast residents. Sadly, the only people buying and even marketing these state-sponsored preposterous narratives are those readily parade themselves as reputable, credible, and a global go-to source for information. However, the truth shall prevail and be made known regardless of how deep the conspiracy to suppress it runs. Family Writers Press International. Ribadu's reckless outburst is as dangerous assault on justice and democracy. IPOB. Press release of 28 May 2025. We have taken note of the most of contemptuous and inflammatory statement attributed to Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, yet another Fulani ethnic irredentist occupying a strategic security office in today's dangerously lopsided Nigerian regime. In a display of staggering impunity, Ribadu accused IPOB and ESN of crimes for which no competent court of law has found them guilty, including destruction of police stations and aiding prison breaks. This statement is not only manifestly sub judice, given the ongoing trial of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but it is also a brazen attempt to prevent or rather to pervert the courses of justice by intimidating the judiciary, particularly Justice Omotosho, who is currently presiding over the case. We remind the world that on 22nd of May 2025, the government's own star witness, PWBBB, admitted under cross-examination that the DSS report directly to the National Security Advisor that Ribadu, who exercises control over the agency detaining Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has now pronounced IPOB and ESN guilty in the public sphere, is a chilling confirmation that this trial is nothing more than a predetermined political witch hunt. Ribadu's utterances betray the mindset of a regime that holds the law in contempt and treats due process as a hindrance to its ethnic expansionist ambitions. It is a dog whistle, a coded message to the judiciary: convict Mazi Nnamdi Kanu regardless of the facts or the law. This is the conduct of a banana republic, not a constitutional democracy. Even the late General Sani Abacha, for all his authoritarian excesses, do not descend to such crude meddling in judicial processes. If Ribadu or any other Janjaweed functionary with a deep-seated hatred for Nigeria has any evidence against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, let them present it in the court before Justice Omotosho. Grandstanding to rent a among journalists who are ignorant of basic legal decorum is not how justice is served. It is how tyranny is sustained. We further call out the United Kingdom government, which by its silence and complicity has enabled the Nigerian regime to repeatedly violate the rights of a British citizen. The UK must search for its soul and ask, is this the justice you claim to uphold? Is this your standard of human rights protection? Your tact approval has emboldened rogue actors like Ribadu to mock international law and trample on basic judicial integrity. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trial is not just a national matter, it is a global litmus test for the rule of law, for the right of self-determination, and for the sanctity of the judiciary. We call on all civilized nations, human rights organizations, and conscientious legal minds to denounce Ribadu's recklessness and demand an immediate halt to this charade of a trial. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. Comrade Emma Powerless, Media and Publicity Secretary for IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra. So my wonderful people, I don't hear them. This is the lies. When I said last time that Nuhu Ribadu is the one trying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, some people don't understand. They keep telling me after Tinubu appointed him or employed him that when Tinubu said him to do something, he refused to do it, Tinubu is going to sack him. My brother Tinubu have his own headache. This area is the area of National Security Advisor. Both the EFCC, the NFIU, DSS, all fall to the office of what they call it, National Security Advisor, which is Nuhu Ribadu. A core Fulani irredentist, unrepentant soul, uncircumcised idiot. That is the one that is holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now it is now trying to blackmail the judiciary by going about paying some Western media who knows nothing about the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was extradited. And what's another part of it is that when they brought all these stories to them, they will never ask them how was this young man brought back to Nigeria in the first place. Let's start from there. How was he brought back to Nigeria? Who invaded his home? Now DSS now come out now and say they don't know anything about how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was brought back to Nigeria, but you hold him. So who handed him over to you? That is the question. Who handed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu over to your custody? Or maybe you people downloaded him from the internet, from Adobe, and then put him inside detention and incarceration for over good 4 years. Can you imagine what kind of stupid country is this? Is it really a country or state and capital? Or is this a banana republic that called itself a country? You know, it's becoming more clearer and clearer that this is a failed nation, and that is the attributes of a failed country. One, the executive will start to fail, from executive to legislative, then the judiciary. After that, then the security architecture fail, because now you can as well agree with me that Nigeria don't have any security architecture. The only security that is left for them now that is functioning is the one that is guiding the rich. The one that is guiding the poor, nothing for them. There's no even a single ammunition for them to fight the bandits and the insurgents and terrorists. Now, people, I beg, drop what you think at the comment section of this video. What is your own opinion? Like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing for more interesting videos. Okay, Messian.